Today we're going to install the TruXedo Sentry CT on the 2019 new body style GMC Sierra. Now this is the same install as a Chevy Silverado. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, now the first thing we're going to want to do is clean off the top of our bulkhead with some rubbing alcohol. Now this is your bulkhead seal that comes in your kit. You're going to notice it's got a little angled leg that comes off. That's going to go towards the back of the truck away from the cab. When we set this bulkhead seal on, we're going to go all the way up against one bed cap all the way to the other bed cap, and you want to make sure that it's as far back on the bulkhead as possible without it rolling down into the bed of the truck. So go ahead and pull away some of the 3M tape adhesive protectant and then set it in place. All right, once you get it to the end, go ahead and cut it in place. All right, so here is our passenger side rail. The shelf of the rail is going to face to the inside of the bed of the truck. The Velcro is going to be to the top, but kind of slightly angled to the outside. Then inside the rail, you're going to have the seal that goes up against the bed cap. You also have a little 90-degree flange that's going to slightly rest on top of the bed cap. Now, I've already got the tailgate closed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this to where the foam seal at the front slightly compresses against the bulkhead, and then drop it down on top of the rail and let the rear seal just barely touch the tailgate. Now that we have the rail in place where I want it, I'm going to hold it in place with a squeeze clamp. All right, so here is our front clamp. What I'm going to do is loosen it up to where the bolt is almost all the way through. That way I can spread the clamp apart. Now I'm going to go behind the bed cap, make sure the front edge of the clamp is mated into the grooves on the rail. I'm going to slide that clamp as far forward as it can go and then tighten it up by hand. Once I get it hand tight, I'm going to snug it up a little bit with a 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet. Then I also want to make sure that the rail is seated down properly against the top of the bed cap, that it's not lifted up off that bed cap at all. And I can go ahead and finish tightening down the clamp. Just get it nice and snug, no need to over tighten it. All right, for our center clamp, what I'm going to do before I install the clamp, if you notice the bed cap, the plastic bed cap cover is hanging down, it moves in and out if I squeeze it. That's because the back metal flange is kind of gapped away from that bed cap, so we need to support that. So in our kit, we're going to have these shims that slips between the plastic bed cap and that metal flange. That way it's supported and it doesn't cause the rail to tip down as you tighten the clamp. Next, right where that shim is, I'm going to install my next clamp the exact same way that I installed my first one. Again, make sure that it's seated properly against the top of the bed cap, then tighten it down. Now for our final clamp, I'm going to install that the exact same way. Now if it's as far back on that bed cap as possible, I don't have to put any kind of a shim back there because the metal flange is right up against the plastic bed cap. So let's set it up in, tighten it hand tight, get it snug, make sure the rail is seated properly, and then finish tightening it down. Repeat the exact same process on the opposite side. All right, now if you have the Multi-Pro tailgate with that embed handle, let me show you how that's going to fit. As you rotate the handle up, it is going to slightly bear up on the rail. Now over time, that's going to give you a little bit of a wear mark on the handle itself and probably going to give you a little bit of wear mark on the bottom of the rail. If you want to remove it, all you need is a 13mm wrench or ratchet. You've got 2 nuts here and a bolt over here on this side. You just move the clamp out of the way to pull the bolt out. Once you pull these 2 nuts out, the bolt plate will pull right out of the stake hole pocket. Okay, now I've got the cover already placed on top of the rails. This is your head rail right here, and you've got a locator pin that comes out the bottom of it. As this rotates down, it needs to fall down into this little oval hole on the rail. You've got one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. Go ahead and rotate it down. Make sure those locator pins drop down through those oval holes. All right, now as that locator drops down through the hole, what we need to do, this is our rail lock. This needs to slide from our header rail underneath the side rail to lock it into place. So what we're going to do is we're going to move it to it. Now, the weight of the cover likes to try to drop the edge of the rail down. So typically you want to lift up on the cover a little bit to get that to engage, and then pop that into place. Do that on both sides. Now we're just going to go ahead and test the operation of the cover, roll it to the tailgate, and lock it in place. To open the cover, you basically just pull the cable. It retracts the latches on each side, and you just roll it up to the cab of the truck. Closing the cover, you first close the tailgate, then you close the cover on top of the tailgate. Now, something else I want to point out is a lot of times dust from the factory can collect and leave some tracking marks on the surface of the cover. That's not any kind of a defect. You just take a microfiber cloth and wipe it off, and stuff comes right off. If it's a little stubborn, you can dampen out that microfiber cloth and wipe it, but it comes right off. Also, sometimes when you're driving down the road, you can actually get some road dust in the bed of the truck, and that will deposit on top of your rails. Every once in a while, when you open up the cover, just wipe down the rails, and that'll help to keep that road dust from getting on top of the cover. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.